BOS meeting to order. This is a meeting of the Board of Selectmen on Monday, April 18th of the year 2016 at 6:30 p.m. And this is our regular meeting. And the first item on the agenda is for the
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have April 4th at 6:30.
We have two, don't we?
Yes.
April 8th.
4th and 8th.
Yeah. Okay. I make a motion that we accept the minutes of April 4th as written.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's good. And then we have April 8th,
Right.
which was about the budget meeting.
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes of April 8th as written.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Then we have present to speak. Anybody here present to speak?
Yes, I
Oh.
am present to speak.
Okay.
I am Andrew Marco. I'm here to speak as chairman of the Planning and Zoning Commission, and I am using my phone to reference the Board of Selectmen minutes from March 7th. In that meeting, you had talked about the DEC, I think that's what it was called. Forgive me as I get the exact. Peter Fairweather, the DEC market study.
Yes.
EDC.
EDC.
Well, it says DEC in the
It
minutes
does?
online.
Oh.
Sorry. I didn't know what DEC meant, so.
It means EDC.
Anyway, Mr. Fairweather found a lot of things in his study. One of them was the uncertainty of the zoning regulations. And it did say that at the end that the Board of Selectmen were going to present the study to the Planning and Zoning Commission. I just wanted to draw your attention to the fact that you approved monies for the plan of the POCD, the plan,
Conservation.
conservation development. I think that's a perfect time and venue to introduce this, because that is a coalition, of kind of an aggregate of different townspeople designed to do just that, with what is Willington going to look like in the future. So it seems like the perfect storm, perfect timing to bring all that together, because you're gonna have not just commission members looking at it, but the whole town. Hopefully maybe that will bring enough energy to get people to actually come to these subcommittees, which we will have to start crafting in the next few months to get it going, because we have to have it done by 2018. That's a suspense date. We have a little more time than that, but we don't want to delay it for any reason, so that's my one point. The second point that I do want to make is about the uncertainty that is in the regulations. And I know that that was a cause of concern. And the words were "as of right." And the reason that, historically, the reason why all businesses are under a special permit is because the economic zones in town were relatively fragile, relatively unexplored. So it was felt that they wanted to have these public hearings, because we were sort of creating commercial zones out of, everything was R80 pretty much except for South Willington, and everything else was just farms, and commercial zones were being created to the best of ability without professional town planners. So it was felt that by having that stopgap and allowing the public to speak, and there's two reasons that, I'm not saying it's good or bad, but my observation of sitting on the committee, I could think of two incidents, or I think Mr. Blessington spoke out against the pet shop that was down. I think you spoke at one of those meetings, and you didn't think that was good for the town. If we had an as of right, you wouldn't have been able to say that, or all those voices would have been silent, because that's a retail zone, and that would have just gone in. And I'd like to bring forward about Love's Truck Stop. If you remember, if you went to those meetings, the first selectman, you spoke out against it. You didn't think it was right for the town at one time, and your voice would not have been heard. All it would have been was a site plan approval. But I think that the Love's Truck Stop is quite a good example of the value of the public hearing. Because if you remember when people were speaking, the attorneys and the applicant said, okay, we can do that. And those voices that the townspeople brought up became the conditions for approval that the commission put forth. If you go to a right, if you just simply go to a right of use or whatever, like if you look at most towns, it'll just say, this is retail, any retail operation can go there except these following 5, you know, or whatever those are, you know, and, so that voice gets silenced. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, good or bad, but that's what you lose. If you just simply say, oh, it's commercial, you're a commercial business, you don't have to ask anybody, you're gonna get what you get. And all we can do is a site plan approval. Like at Phelps's, anything would go in there. And no one would, you would just know when a sign went up. And maybe that's the right thing. I just wanted to bring that up. And finally, that another thing in Willington, a lot of regulations have been put into zoning because people, their town ordinances are not drafted. For instance, the rule against live entertainment. Many towns handle that through an ordinance. We cannot regulate content. So we can say no live entertainment, but we can't say you can have this type of entertainment and not that type. In zoning, because that becomes a zone. And that's what we're talking about, is zoning regulations, or what can you do in a zone. We cannot regulate content within a zone, only we can say this is not allowed. And I know that you are, Mr. Blessington is very concerned about it's prohibited. But that's often why it's prohibited in zoning and why it's so broad. Because if the town wanted to draft an ordinance, you could say, okay, we can have live entertainment over decibels. There's no noise ordinance in town. There's a lot of things that are not in ordinances. And I think it's because of enforcement. That without a police force, how are you going to enforce these things from your, because that falls on the executive branch. Right now, it's in the regulatory branch, and that's how we manage it. So I just wanted to bring those points up, that it might seem convoluted and kind of weird, but that's why it's convoluted and weird, because that's where you have to put it. Because the teeth are more in zoning, where you have attorneys, you have state statutes behind you. And again, I'm not passing a judgment on right of use or right to use or whatever that, I forgot the phrase already. As of right, that's
As
what
of right.
as of right, where it is like with agriculture, that's as of right. And that's it, that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Well, thanks. That was very educational.
Yes, it was.
Thanks for coming. Anyone else present to speak?
If I may be present to speak, or should I wait for old business with regards to the road driveway at Button Hills?
We don't have it on our agenda,
And that's fine.
so you can do it now.
I don't have anything to add to it. I've got a couple calls into Stuart, haven't got a response yet, so
Okay,
that's my status.
okay.
Okay, now let's stay for as much as I got time. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, and anyone else for present to speak? Okay. Correspondence, and you see the list of correspondence?
Change in command, is that because Scott Smith has left?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes.
There's a new guy already though. Is it the same one as Helen?
Alex Rios?
Yes.
Yeah, I just got a letter on Friday, and he called today, but I haven't been able to call back.
Yeah, I'll see you too, but I don't think so.
Yep. Okay. My status report, I didn't get a chance to do it, because I just got back like half an hour ago. But I can tell you about a couple of things that are going on with, I know, we're trying to get the wetlands application in to Susan by Wednesday, so that for the Potter School Bridge, because there's a wetlands meeting next week, and if we can get it approved there, then it'll just move things along a little bit quicker. And we want to go out to bid on that as soon as possible, because ideally, if we can get construction done in September, that's the perfect time, because we need it, the river to be low flow. And, but there's a little concern about the funding. We've secured, I think, $140,000, which is the amount that was left over from the Holster Bridge. And it just, they just moved the money into the capital account for this. And we're just looking.
You talking about the
I'm sorry, yes, Daleville, I said Potter.
Yeah.
Daleville School, not Potter School.
It's because Potter School's on.
Yes, yeah, I keep seeing both of them, and it's gonna really confuse me.
Yeah, I
They're-
can understand.
So, basically, you know, we can't go and ask the Board of Finance for more money until we know exactly how much more money we need. And we might not need more, so I think it behooves us to go out to bid quickly, know what the number is, and then deal with that when we get there, so. That's what we're gonna try to do, but we can't go out to bid until we get wetlands approval, so.
Do we get one?
Till we get wetlands approval. Because if they say, no, you can't do that way, then we're back at square one again, so. And then Turnpike Road is the other project that we're really still trying to get our state approvals from the DEP and the DOT. So it's, it just takes forever. So they're working on it, and I hope soon, I don't know. Public Works has been very busy. They had, Derek came and repaired a toilet here at the town office building last week. They've been doing roadside mowing, grading the gravel roads, pothole patching. They picked up clay for the ball fields. They installed a driveway apron and repaired some aprons damaged by plows. They burned a huge brush pile at the transfer station last week, which was good because at this point there is a no burn warning out because the hole is too dry. But they got it done last week. They did a dig out and installed millings for the textile bins at the transfer station. They installed the water tank on Unit 13, which was just in the nick of time for sweeping, but also there was a dead deer that was stuck underneath someone's car at the library last week. And the person didn't realize that they had a deer stuck in it, and the blood went all over the driveway. So then they had to take the water truck and clear the blood off the driveway the next day in the parking lot.
So they hit it in the road, ran it over, and didn't know it was stuck?
I guess,
I hope it was a truck.
I don't know what it was. I don't know how you couldn't know that, but, yeah. But I guess it was a big mess, so. So then they started sweeping today. I know they did all the lots today. They did a lot, so, they're moving fast. So that's what nice weather will do for you. And they've been just ongoing vehicle and equipment repair. And, but they also, in the last 2 weeks, did do some plowing and sanding. They had back-to-back storms on Sunday, April 3rd and Monday, April 4th. And hopefully this was the last of the winter season. We had a total of 15 snow events that needed plowing and sanding. Now the temperature stayed above freezing, the sweeping season's begun. If everything goes well, a little downtime due to breakdowns, we should complete the sweeping by the end of May, which would be great. So, what's that? So under new business, we have a tax refund. So I'll just make a motion for a refund of excess payment to Colin Brown of 32 Clover Springs Drive in the amount of $28.71. Discussion? All in favor? And I put Potter School Bridge rehabilitation on the list because just last week, the DOT came in to talk with myself, Derek, the Public Works Director, and also the Public Works Director from Stafford, to let us know that they have been looking at this bridge on Potter School Road, which you might not have noticed. I know Ralph notices things like that. But it's a kind of small bridge that goes over I-84, and it just is sort of there. And it needs some work, and it needs to be replaced, is what they're saying. So I think they're planning to do the work in 2018, so it's not anytime soon, but they start doing all their pre-work now. And basically they were just telling us about the need to have it done, and wanted to get some feedback from us as a town as to what we would prefer. They had 3 different options of how to do the construction, and one would be to have it take 2 months, and they would just shut down the road, take out the old bridge, put in a new bridge, and it would be done. And then another option would be for it to take 8 months, and that's where they would do one side and the other. So there would always be construction going on the whole 8 months, and, you know, construction delays and things like that. And then the other one was a hybrid, which I couldn't really follow, because I'm not an engineer, but it didn't seem like anyone was too excited about that one, because it was expensive and was gonna take like 5 months. So it wasn't gonna, get us, you know, it wasn't so much better than either one. So anyway, I said I would talk with our superintendent, because I know he's, where this is in the middle of a bus route, and I'm not sure how they would do the bus route otherwise. They'd have to do some changing
Most
around.
of 2 months have to be during summer.
Right, and they said that we could request that, and that they would try to work with that if that's what we ended up wanting. Yes.
Well,
You know, if they're just doing the superstructure, or whether they're doing the elements also? Because that's a relatively new bridge, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know, I have the stuff they gave me, I can show you.
well,
But,
Let me take a quick look.
yeah. But the other thing was, I wanted to check with Stu, our emergency management director, and the state police, and make sure, and also the residents who at least live on that road, to see what their preference would be before we weigh in. And they said that, you know, they asked us to take a couple of weeks and find out from people what they think. And then at some point, when they do know what they're gonna do, there will be public hearings, there will be actual, you know, notifications to everybody on the roads and stuff. But, we wanted to just, do a kind of, you know,
you feel for it?
get a feel for it, and just make a recommendation to them.
I have a question though.
Mhm.
Cottage School Road is a town road,
Yes,
but it's a state bridge,
yes,
so they're fixing it and it doesn't cost us anything, even though it's really our town road.
right.
Okay.
The state's doing it, it still costs us.
Oh, of course it does. I just meant out of our town budget, but it. I know.
Boy, no, you're correct there.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
so,
so my initial feel is that we probably want the 2-month option for the buses, and I think, because I'm kind of familiar with that area, that it wouldn't be such an inconvenience to people to go around, because it takes about the same amount of time to get to the highway from there, but there's probably a few differences of opinion on that, because I mean, I don't know, you know, people who live there, they go in the other direction or what, but that's what I think would be the preference of people to do.
my only concern is that, you know, the state says it takes 2 months, but what happens if it takes 6 months and it's shut down?
I know.
That's my only, and then
Oh, you're absolutely right.
what do you do?
Yeah,
At least the 8 months, you know you can travel on one side.
yeah, and exactly. So.
Oh, it's gonna be a beautiful bridge.
Well, and I mean, if we hear from the fire department that, well, you know, it's gonna take an extra 5 minutes or 10 minutes to get to someone's house now, because we've
Right.
locked them off, well, that's a big consideration,
Right.
but,
I guess if you talk to the fire department and the schools and everybody's on board with it, and even if it went 6 months and it wasn't a huge inconvenience, then I would go with the first option, but
yeah,
if not, I don't trust that it'll be done in 2 months and, you know,
yeah.
to have the road closed that long.
Mhm. And it really would have to be 2 months, I mean, the school, this year is out June 10th, which is really early, but usually you have all of July, but then you don't have all of August,
Right.
It's the first.
So it
you know.
definitely would probably affect the school anyways.
Yeah, it'd have to be a really, really tight window for it to not to impact it, and then it's almost worse because you weren't planning on it,
Right.
and then the buses have to compensate somehow, so.
I think they, well, excuse me, I think anticipating the possibility that it might go on is probably wise on the town's part, if you like for the full shutdown.
Oh, yeah, I think.
You know, if they were to anticipate that as far as bus routes.
Yeah,
And be prepared if need be.
Yeah, but being prepared might mean we need a whole other bus. And so that is a budget preparation
Sure.
too. So,
Or maybe the state will pay
Yeah, okay.
yeah. Yeah.
for it. I doubt it.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was
How much cheaper is the 2-month option?
saying.
Not significantly.
Yeah, they told us not significant.
They may be surprised though if they were to bid it as an alternate. They bid it, probably the base bid being a 2-month shutdown and an alternate being, stretching out. I think they may be surprised at the cost difference if it were bid that way. Remember, you're talking about engineers' estimates there, and us engineers, as much as we like to think job site conditions are very productive, they aren't always. And contractors usually have a better feel for, especially the guys that do bridges, have a better feel for what's really involved.
Yeah.
I mean, I would ask them that, Christina, are they gonna bid it both ways?
Yeah. I will ask them that. I know that when they come to a decision before it gets to the public hearing phase, they want to have settled on one way. Because they don't want to have, a back and forth and have it drag on. They want to have it go forward with one, which I understand, but they want to be presenting the plan, like they did with the other bridge, with 74, I think.
I did check out CME.
Mhm.
I really couldn't get a good feel for the engineering firm.
I think they will love it.
Did you know that the DOT is looking at the Route 32 bridge over Roaring Brook?
Over by Village Hill, Schofield.
Before you get to Schofield, go past River Road,
Village
right?
Hill.
Yeah?
Just North Stafford?
Oh, okay, yeah.
They were drilling test borings there today,
Oh, I didn't know they
So
were
they're-
doing that.
exploring something, having to do with that bridge.
Well, they're always looking at the bridges, right?
Well, they're always inspecting it. This is not inspection. This is subsurface investigation. So they've got to be seriously concerned doing something with that bridge.
Lots of bridges. There's a lot of bridges. So,
John, you're scowling.
Am I? I'm sorry. I will try not to scowl.
A question, if I may. How busy is that bridge with regards to one-way traffic being a problem?
Water school?
Yeah, nothing much going on? Okay.
No, I can't see that as an issue.
yeah, no, it's not a,
It's not an arterial for, by any
no,
stretch.
no, or through road. It's really just the residential traffic that goes through there.
Okay.
It's much faster to just go through Turnpike Road if you're trying to move on to other places. So. But it does connect to Micklewick Road at the end, it turns into Micklewick, which goes into Stafford, so.
If you're on that end of the road, you're gonna go Micklewick Road, because it's quicker
Yeah.
than going all the way to the end. And if you're at the other end, you're gonna go Turnpike Road, because it's quicker than going all the way, so
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
I think it's a wash
yeah, I don't think it's,
for
I
the
don't think it's that big
neighborhood.
of a deal.
If you were to connect.
Just what the emergency
Yeah.
personnel think, and the schools think, I would think would be mentioned.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm just mentioning it just to start talking about it, but. Old business, the proposed state police firearms training facility discussion.
I think we can just ban.
Crossing it off.
Actually, what the big news last week was that we heard officially that we've been removed from consideration as a town. And so for that, I think I'm gonna make a motion that we permanently remove this agenda item from our agenda.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
If it requires a motion, sure, okay.
Well, I don't know if it did, but.
Sounded good, John.
Yeah.
Don't rain on her parade.
And then, the steering committee, I do think that they need to meet at least one more time, because there is some unfinished business, just, in terms of some of the reports, that haven't been completed yet, and how we wanna handle that, and things like that, so there is a little bit more work to do there. But otherwise, I think we're, in as good a shape as we're gonna be on that one, so. Oh, hi.
just kind of, if you were going to the present to speak yet?
Yeah,
or-
yeah,
okay.
yep.
So I just wanted to officially come Winnie Hart, Ruby Road, and I wanted to thank the Board of Selectmen for their dedication to fighting the placement of the gun range in our town, because it just wasn't a good fit. Also wanted to recognize your ability and willingness to influence the other town boards and committees to support the opposition officially. And I do think it was a serious issue to the town, and I just wanted to make sure that I came and personally thanked each of you for your efforts, and just wanted to say thanks instead of just blowing it off, so appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that was nice. And I want to thank you and all the other residents who really never backed down on this. And, you know, it made it easy for us to know what to do in this case. Because a lot of times you don't know, and because the people aren't here, and we just kind of have to go with what we think. But when there's a crowd like you've never seen before at multiple meetings, and it doesn't let up, then you know that how people feel. So it made it easy for us, and everyone's support along the way just really did. And I think it was a good example of how everybody can work together and make something happen. So thank you and all the others, because there were a lot of others out there. So yeah.
I think we should have a sign burning party.
Well, I think they're planning that.
I think it's a great
Yeah,
idea.
and actually that reminds me too, Derek, and he's not sure if it happened or not, because he hadn't been able to talk to Matt when I had talked to him today, but he was gonna tell people if they had signs to bring to the transfer station, to put them to the side. He made a special area for it, because there are people in some of the other towns that are looking for signs.
Hey, good idea.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
and
nice.
some of them say Willington though, and I don't think they want those necessarily, but
We could paint over that.
yeah, no, so the Willington group is looking for those signs, and they're gonna bring them over there for them. But it will keep all the signs out of our bulky waste bin, which is good. And then, I think if some of the Willington people wanna pick up the other signs and use them for their bonfire, I think, that's fine. It's fine with me.
I think sending them off to other towns for reuse makes more sense, for recycling makes more sense than a bonfire.
Yeah.
That's some sign.
It's less fun.
Yeah.
Well, you're right, John, but.
Yeah. So that's that. Moving on to good and welfare, we have a town meeting tomorrow night where we're calling a referendum, hopefully, to vote on the budget, which, what is it, a 0.19 mil increase? Is what we're at now?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
small.
It's a
I
very
don't have
small
my
mill
stuff.
increase that we'll be voting on this year, so I don't know.
I don't have mine with me, sorry.
Yeah, it was in the minutes from that meeting.
Oh, here, I have it.
Oh, it's not in the minutes, it was on the piece of paper we were looking at with all these other numbers on it.
It was very, very small.
Yeah, it's smaller than last time.
Well, last time there was no increase. I don't have it on here either. Wait, is it here? This is what happens when I'm bringing my bag.
Yeah, I know. But it's not a big increase, and they're gonna go through it all tomorrow night at the Old Town Hall.
At 7?
At 7, and then the referendum is on May 3rd, and most likely will be from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Although we are voting on that tomorrow as well, so look out for the details. But, and everybody who's a registered voter or property owner in town can vote, so. And they should.
And she attended the
Oh, and
meeting.
when are the primaries?
They're 2 weeks, they're 1 week apart. The primary's the week before, isn't it? The Tuesday before?
Primary's the 26th, I believe.
It's the week before, right?
Yeah.
The Tuesday, because the voting is 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Must be close.
Yeah.
Waiting for my mail.
Yeah, no kidding, huh?
I got 3 or 4 things
It's the
from Burlington.
It's the 26th, I think John's right, that's the Tuesday.
I don't get anything from Vernon. Something I said.
Yeah, the 26th
And
and
I'm not
the
even
3rd.
registered in Vernon.
You're not?
No,
Oh, that's a waste of money then.
on their part,
Yeah.
yeah. It shows you how up-to-date their records are.
Yeah. Oh, one of the things that we're worried about with the town budget is the fact that the state, it has not settled on what their budget is yet for next year, and every day it gets worse and worse for towns, including us. So I think right now we're looking at a over $100,000 cut to what we got last year. One estimate was like almost 40,000, and this one's 130,000 that we would be cut. So we didn't factor that in to our budget necessarily. We knew at the time when we were talking about it just a month ago that there was gonna be some volatility, so they did make conservative estimates in terms of revenues to begin with. So I think we're okay, and we'd be able to absorb most of that, but,
Well, John, we'll just have to get legal.
It's true.
well, and then
I think we should fire the tree warden.
yes, definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
we don't have one. It's voluntary, we even had one.
Yeah, that'd be a big cost savings though. At least we wouldn't have to send that person to tree warden school. That'd save us money. So we'll see. It's a pretty sad state of affairs the state is in right now.
But
So,
yeah, they're still looking for a place for that gun range, this amazes me.
Yep.
Well, that authorization was made how many years ago? By the legislature.
For the gun range?
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah, but it's still
Yeah.
bonding, so.
But not
Yeah.
necessarily
And here's the
that
thing.
gun
The
range.
money hasn't been found, but the authorization to pursue it
yeah,
has.
well, here's the thing, I could authorize my husband to buy a truck next year, but if we don't have the money, we don't buy it. You know,
Especially if it costs more than you planned on.
You're thinking it's common sense.
I'm just saying, you know, the money, hold the money.
Sorry, Jim.
Yep.
Lay off, how many people? Let's lay them off, and look at that gun range. We'll
Yep.
have no policemen. but-
Well, we'll have them, they just won't be able to shoot straight.
Another good and welfare is that we got our list of arrests and accidents. There were 9,
Off in March.
yeah, for the month of March. There were 9 accidents, 14 criminal investigations, 1 burglary, 1 larceny, and 664 non-reportable matters. And also 3 DUIs, 320 traffic citations, and 71 written warnings.
I think that will be on there in